Dear friends, today at the Test and Innovation Center, we will conduct all the tests we have performed at Trimbox from start to finish, especially for the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany. For those who cannot come to our offices and friends located in places like the other ends of the world or African countries, here is the place. We keep it alive. We will already establish similar offices and test centers in those places as well. Now, I will first introduce you to an electrical circuit diagram. I want to say this, for those who wonder what an electrical circuit diagram is, especially the electrical circuit diagram, I will simplify it. In mathematics, addition and subtraction are depicted using symbols similar to those in electrical diagrams. It could be in the project of a facility, a building, or any place, including a machine. The electrical system is designed with an electrical single-line diagram. Following the design in this circuit diagram, you can show symbols like a switch, a socket, a meter, and a coin slot with a symbol. Now, these symbols generally originated from Europe, primarily from Germany. Unfortunately, even in the most developed countries in the world, the ability to produce symbols is not very high. In fact, we didn't have a symbol in Turkey. However, we are now able to signify the symbolizing of the widely used surge arrestor, the Trimbox, with a distinctive representation. This particular statement is comprised of a total of 196 characters. The symbols you see here are from a real school project, the symbol of the surge arrestor. These are in 6 Turkish ministries. As of today, that is, as of 2025, it is being used in the specifications of 6 ministries. In addition to technology, I would like to present you with the regulatory infrastructure regarding the transition to general specifications, regulation on the preparation of electrical internal installation projects. Here, December 3rd, 2003, number 25305. The purpose of this regulation is to regulate the procedures and principles for the preparation of electrical installation projects required within the scope of the Electrical Internal Installations Regulation, it says. Protection systems, over-voltage protection system, surge arresters, impact protection arrangements, and selects other surge suppressor devices. In currency fuses. Besides being the first domestic currency fuse manufacturer, we supply approximately 50% of the market. I'm talking about the Turkish market. In the public sector, this rate can go up to 80%. In surge suppressors, we have certain differences, and we are already the only manufacturer in the world in that field. Now, I will also present the difference between currency fuses and surge suppressors, but let me briefly present it. Currency fuses are mandatory at building entrances, especially in Turkey, but this continues in many parts of the world. The currency fuse grounds the excessive current within the facility. Unfortunately, it cannot prevent the excessive voltage formed there from damaging the devices. Therefore, a surge arrestor is needed. This is clearly stated in the Internal Facilities Project Preparation Regulation. The first is the regulatory aspect. The second is on the side of compensating user damage. 29th of December, 2020. By broadcasting its Respigas, numbered 31349, which entered Eurobi. There is a regulation regarding the quality of electricity distribution and retail sales. According to this, a system using an overvoltage suppressor Trimbox, if it experiences possible damage, places the responsibility of compensating the damage on the relevant distribution company. On behalf of the state, there are 21 distribution companies in Turkey which have been privatized. Since they operate on behalf of the state, it's almost like a helmet is formed. What do I mean? Now, you've bought a device, and all over the world, issues caused by the network are outside the scope of the warranty. This holds true in America, Japan, China, Russia, and Turkey alike. It's also the same with IBM, Toshiba, Apple, which are among the world's most advanced technologies, and Sony. So, if there's a network-related problem, it's the same with Vestel, our local pride. If a network-related problem occurs, it is considered outside the warranty coverage. Regarding this, the network-related problem is considered outside the warranty coverage, even if it is within the warranty period. In other words, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, there is a warranty period. But even if the warranty period has expired, if you have a surge protector installed in your facility, you now have state insurance because the relevant distribution company is obliged to compensate for your damage. Can you imagine? Even if the warranty has expired. Now, in one case, even while the warranty was still valid, no warranty was offered. In the second case, a warranty is offered even if the warranty has expired. Dear friends, except for the good ones and those who do their job properly, sometimes technical services can be misleading, and it is possible for them to mislead the consumer. They charge unnecessary fees by claiming it's a network-related problem. In a place where an overvoltage suppressor is used there, they also lose the chance to prepare such a report. So naturally, this prevents you from being deceived in this sense. Is blocking it. Besides that, friends, a very tragic event occurred in Turkey. In a dormitory, in November 2016, 12 children lost their lives. A fire broke out. We can show it like this. We can show it like this. A fire that started about 10 hours after the meter change. A fire that we can consider as a neutral break. God forbid. When the neutral is disconnected, the devices end up in this state. The burning of the building and devices, and consequently the building reaching this state, reveals the terrifying extent of an electrical fire. We can demonstrate this again with a fire that occurred in a complex in Izmir. I will return to this. Here too, to immediately demonstrate the penalty clause, a project engineer for a period ranging from 4 years and 2 months to 15 years, the contractor of the commitment firm and the manager. Look, you are the manager of a complex and you have no connection to this matter, nor do you naturally have the chance to know, but we are providing information as you would appreciate. In the event of someone's death in a common area, you will be tried in a high criminal court. In this dormitory tragedy, sentences ranging from 4 years and 2 months to 15 years were given. 18 people were injured here and 12 people died. Unfortunately, it was given to the relevant individuals. We will conduct a 10 kilovolt test. We can illustrate a simple LED, whether it's one we use in standby mode for lighting or in any place where LEDs are employed. We can approach the LED like this. Look, a 0.2050 microseconds is a real lightning test. You may approach Mr. Mohammed. End. Here, we will also see the peak voltage and peak current during the pulse. We will also see the LED explode. A lightning event is 10,000 volts. Yes, 8,760 volts, 880 amperes. And, let's stop. And, do. We clearly observed that our LED exploded during a lightning event, meaning if our electronic board had been there instead of the LED, it would have exploded. We are conducting the same test. We are doing it in the varistor. It will also explode. I am listing our tests. We will do it for the Trimbox. We will connect the Trimbox. We will see with our own eyes that the LED on it remains intact in the Trimbox. This is how we will do it. We have explained it. Now, I want to talk to you about this topic from the year 2014. At the Bursa Chamber of Commerce and Industries award ceremony for those who add value to the economy, I want to talk about the subject I explained when they asked me to explain it in 15 seconds.
There is an inventor from Bursa named Evren Yurtash. To avoid problems caused by high voltage electricity, a device known as Trimbox was invented, which is valuable to the economy this year. Evren Yurtash was deemed worthy of the Inventor of Bursa Award, given as part of the awards for those who add value to the economy. I, Evren Yurtash, would love to see the device. I think our Prime Minister, being a scientist, would also be curious. If you could come over for a moment, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, or even 15 seconds to explain the device to me.
I welcome you all. First and foremost, our esteemed Prime Minister and all our distinguished guests. Network-related issues are outside the warranty coverage, but this product sets out to change the current world order and succeeds in doing so. In the upcoming world, producers of white goods and machinery will similarly be involved in electrical grids, which will encompass incidents like lightning strikes and transformer blowouts. The difficulties they might encounter preventing electrical fires caused by these issues, and hopefully a product that will change this order in the world.
Magnificent. You are constantly thinking about engineering in this subject, and you continue to work on it.
Currently, over 100,000 products are in assembly.
Yes, in the year 2014, over 100,000 products are in assembly. Currently, we are in the market with nearly 1 million units. I want to show you the unit price tariff related to this subject, which we call the Unit Price Tariff of Dust Numbers by the Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change. It mentions panel-type surge protectors with the code 35152100, in parentheses low voltage arresters. Look at the tariff, look. Energy supplies to atmospheric discharges. I already told you that's what a surge arrestor is for. And to protect against temporary overvoltage spikes. Unfortunately, a surge arrestor has no function against overvoltage spikes, but we assume it does. Let's continue. Type 1, Type 2, Type 3. Let's get closer. protection against overvoltage for 1 phase, 2 phases, 3 phases, and neutral. Now, dear friends, neutral protection. There is no technology available outside of the Trimbox. I claim neutral protection, except for phase protection technologies. We already have our patent. Is already infringing on our patent. But it's not a problem. Ultimately, it's better to protect something. Especially in this field, we have developed devices like phase protectors, which we use in homes. Look at the surges occurring in the microsecond range. They are properly protected with the terminology of surge protectors. However, if the grounding is not very good, where the surge protector falls short, it becomes a decorative item. Or if the grounding is very good, it would already perform this function in your system. Even if there is no grounding, it provides protection and also performs protection when the neutral is disconnected in the nanosecond range. A technology that provides 1,000 times more sensitive protection in the microsecond range when lightning events and overvoltages occur. When you use it with peace of mind, you are protected against network-related problems. When you get a state helmet, you also get a device that is compliant with the regulations. See, there is nothing like it anywhere in the world. What does any surge protector claim in its datasheet that it will protect against overvoltage? It says surge protector, it says wave protection. In translations in Turkey, it says protection against overvoltage. This is inspired by Trimbox. Trimbox is an overvoltage suppressor. You know it also produces surge protectors. I will show you the varieties shortly. In overvoltage protection, even if the grounding of the surge protector is not good, or there is no grounding at all, it still provides protection. Look, according to this tariff, those who provide neutral protection cannot apply a surge arrestor without neutral protection. In other words, laws are everything, as you know. But it doesn't matter. In the end, let's explain the facts here. Let's also present the topic. Overvoltage protection is not done between phase and ground. Overcurrent transmission is done between phase and ground. Overvoltage protection can be done between phase and neutral if the phase and neutral are load carriers, meaning if it's not an asynchronous motor. As you know, we also have technologies used in surge arresters here. Spark gap, gas discharge tube, varistor, and similar technologies. Technologies like varistor, spark gap, and gas discharge tube. Since it cannot be used between fast and fast neutral and is punctured very quickly, we strengthen the varistor here 50 times more effectively. We produce a new electronic circuit component under the abbreviated name TR varistor, derived from the Turkish-made Pablo's TR varistor. For our friends who want to break and copy the Trimbox or who say, what's the big deal if there's already a varistor inside the Trimbox? Yet, here it is. When they came, we were already showing the test, and now we also show it with a video. Friends, the thing that looks like a varistor you see is now the TR varistor. In other words, it cannot be used in a regular surge protector or within overvoltage suppressors, as it punctures very quickly. We have enhanced it 50 times more effectively under the name TR varistor. When we convert it to a TR varistor, the thing that looks like a varistor when you break it is no longer a varistor but a TR varistor. A patented TR varistor that doesn't explode and is usable. It's actually that simple. But because you didn't ask, you are not informed. Unfortunately, you have opinions without having knowledge. I am returning to this spot again. Friends, 1. Buildings. Simultaneous burning of all apartments at the same time can have 2 reasons. There can be 2 formulas. 1. You pour thinner into all the apartments. You say fire simultaneously with the radio. Despite God's rejection, there's no chance of such a thing happening. This is a very well-known site in Turkey. If the neutral breaks, friends, even the very simple electronic circuit elements inside your normal devices, like that resistor, can heat up to 900 degrees. Because 2 of the 3 phases rise, 1 falls. And simultaneously, in all apartments, a fire starts after 10 hours, 20 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours. Let me explain how it starts. Look, this is an electrical system. Here, this is the electrical panel of those who do not use a Trimbox. This is the electrical panel of those who use Trimbox. Let's get a little closer to the Trimbox. This turns the Trimbox on and off. This breaks the neutral, the red. The green fixes it. Currently, the Trimbox is off. Let's get closer. The residual current device is in the system. Look, we are using one of the world's highest quality residual currents, 30 milliamperes. They said if there had been a residual current device during the Al-Adha disaster, the dormitory disaster, this fire wouldn't have happened. Big important people appeared in the mainstream media. Unfortunately, friends, I say this with regret. It can't be that there's this level of deceit. We're beginning to feel the pressure here. Why are you lying? If you don't know, let me say we don't know. Look, there's a residual current device, right? There's a fuse, a circuit breaker, everything is there. I'm disconnecting the neutral. Look at the values. Let's get closer, everyone. Phase 1 is 221, phase 2 is 215, phase 3 is 220, right? Average equal values. Now I'm going to disconnect the neutral. Get closer. Did the residual current device trip? Did the fuse trip? Look at the values. Phase 1 is 108, phase 2 is 280, phase 3 is 310. Phase 3 and phase 2 have started to heat up, everyone. It's heating up right now. If the Trimbox were on, please monitor the 10 Trimbox with the residual current device. The residual current device would trip. There would be no electricity. You or your spouse would try to reset the residual current device, but it wouldn't reset. You would call us. We use Trimbox. Our insurance doesn't work anymore. You think this is a fuse because you don't know what a leakage current relay is. We would say, be careful. Your house or building could catch fire. Call an electrician. Have them fix the neutral. It's not that simple. We are doing this to speed things up here. They will see that the neutral is broken, loose, or corroded. We'll fix it. Later, he could provide the energy. In a place where there is a Trimbox, where the Trimbox is 10, if the neutral breaks, because the residual current circuit breaker will trip, there is no energy. Oh, there is no residual current circuit breaker. Residual current circuit breaker exists but has been deactivated. In such situations, in this case, the Trimbox offers unlimited protection capabilities because you cannot lift the leak. But if the Trimbox is in a panel, even if the residual current doesn't work, then it will explode. It provides one-time protection. It trips the fuses. It still protects you. We change the unit anyway, once a year. But generally, we have a lot with our customers. We are not breaking it. Our aim is not to constantly take money from you, but to protect you because we are friends. However, since it is necessary to set a limit, we specify it as a one-time occurrence per year. Ultimately, when this incident occurs, this happens in phase 3 and phase 2. Now look, let's heat it up. We set it to 900 degrees. But we see our angry wire. Let's get closer. Yes, a simple resistor inside your device has now reached 900 degrees, friends. And from this resistor, there might be 100, maybe 1,000 in a television or something, you know. Look, a simple resistor like this may not be able to open up to 900 degrees. Let's start. This is done to show that this heated wire is real. We also offer a separate test. Look, the outer body of the Trimbox is made from the world's highest quality material. It is a material from LG with zero flammability. There is silk paper below. It has the right to drip down. But the silk paper should not catch fire. According to the standard, it should extinguish within 30 seconds when pulled. So, we also demonstrate that the outer body of the Trimbox does not propagate or enlarge the fire. Imagine it lasting 10 hours, 20 hours. Look, the extinguishing time extended to 0 seconds. Imagine it continuing for 100 hours within your devices. We are talking about something terrible, friends. It's not enough for only you to take precautions. It's not enough for it to be a societal issue or for your neighbor to take precautions. Doesn't the burning of the apartment next door affect you? God forbid, but it's a fact, a reality. It's defined by regulations. The same test, our previous test, we will conduct for the Trimbox. Look, friends, this is a varistor. When we perform the same test, the varistor also fails at once. To the Trimbox, look, again, 10,000 volts. Let's clearly see the LED on it. Let's approach. Let's not be afraid to approach. Let's approach. Yes, let's stop there. Friends are counting. 10,000 volts, 9,997, 10,000 volts, 1.2050 microseconds. We will see the peak voltage and peak current. Counting. If you remember, we blew the LED in one go. We will try this 3 times in between. To not take up too much of your time, we will try it 3 times. Look, 9,070 volts, 700 amperes. Is there anything in the LED? No, it's counting again now. The first one is done. Counting for the second one. Let's get closer. Yes, 9020 volts, 730 amperes. Is there any explosion or cracking in the LED or the TR arrival type inside the Trimbox? No. The last thing I said, that is, this device, the one whose LED we see now, is a device that has been tested nearly 200 times before. It can explode between 150 and 200 times itself, but its LED remains intact. It still protects the parallel load. 9020 volts, 730 amperes. And in the end, we saw with our own eyes that everything was intact, friends. Now, friends, this is where words end and practice begins. In other words, we presented the difference between the surge arrestor and your bill. We presented the existence of surge arrestors in the regulations. Although it is mandatory, it is not a very charming word. We presented that you have it in the state insurance, when it is not. In the event of a fatal accident, God forbid, we mentioned that you might face a penalty. And now, let me tell you about another technology. Neutral ground? I want to talk about regulators. Let's turn the Trimbox off. Here, simply. Look, it shows the voltage between neutral and ground at levels of 5 volts. Still, neutral ground regulators, less than 1 volt is desired between neutral and ground, friends. Where? For all ATMs, cash registers, lab devices, laser tools, X-ray machines, and electric cars globally, servers require a voltage drop between neutral and ground. Generally, if boilers exceed 0.4 volts, they fall outside the warranty coverage. We can list so much technology that the higher the hardware, the more necessary it is. Now, we will conduct a test here. We turned off the Trimbox. Let's approach the neutral ground here. At levels of 2 volts, 3 volts, 5 volts. If there is more fluctuation than 0.2 volts, it also indicates damage. It's fluctuating right now, if you notice. I disconnected the neutral. Trimbox off. It's not tripping any leakage. If you notice, the voltage between neutral and ground became 117 volts. Look, still 5, 10, 25. The number at the end means 1 divided by. For example, still 10 at a ratio of 1 to 10. 115 volts, 13 volts. It takes 1 or 2 volts from the turn, you see. Still 25. 116 volts. 5 volts, friends can constantly reduce it because it takes 1 or 2 volts from the thing. In the end, neutral ground regulators, let's correct it. Neutral ground regulators, as I have presented, are necessary in many technologies around the world, and let me talk about a revolution. For example, if the ground breaks or your grounding is not very good, voltage occurs on the metal body. So above 50 volts is a very big problem for electrocution. And here you see values like 100 volts, 200 volts. In occupational safety, especially in machines that are statically charged, particularly in devices like touchscreens, I emphasize this, at shock values like 1000 volts. When there is no grounding, it's almost like a virtual ground. Look, I'm not saying it replaces the ground, never. I emphasize this. Grounding is absolutely necessary. For a human's lungs, grounding is like that, but your lungs can get clogged. You might need my help with my problem. Grounding instead of friends. Here it has a revolutionary capability. It uses the neutral almost like a cathode. By integrating it into the system, it prevents the formation of voltage by incorporating the current that will occur there into the system. You read values like 1 volt, 1.6 volts, 0.6 volts, even if it's not completely grounded. How does it happen? Let me explain it this way. Let's approach it. The technology inside completely separates phase, neutral, and ground from the system. When we enter the system's ground, the new ground comes out from out. Even if there is no in, meaning even if you have no grounding, out creates a virtual ground in this sense. Here, it prevents the formation of voltage on machines and bodies for occupational safety. Like the marine series, in technologies, you know there is a zinc anode on boats. When the shaft and zinc anode start to erode, the shaft and propeller begin to communicate and start eroding each other. Static voltage forms on devices. We prevent this static tension with the marine series. Additionally, since it includes both single-phase and three-phase Trimbox, it also helps protect devices, including against lightning. Now, if there is interference in sound or image, GND offers a solution due to grounding issues. In other words, in the world's most advanced technologies, using the GND series, using the Trimbox GND series can offer very simple solutions. For example, let me also present the cabinet sockets to you. Especially the world's largest. Computer brands are our clients. A voltage above 0.8 volts between neutral and ground is not accepted in servers. because it skips data, suppresses data transmission. In the GND, there is also a Trimbox responsible for neutral ground regulation and overvoltage within the RKs. That is our gift inside. And because it provides this kind of neutral ground regulation, let's say there are 10 volts in the GND when you attach 4 volts, 5 volts inside. Generally speaking, that's it. If you don't want a separate value, it takes 0.5 volts. You continue with your life. It offers such a simple solution. From data PoE surge protectors, from 12 volts to 1500 volts. AC surge protector from 110V to 1000V with overvoltage suppression models. Our 18th year as of 2025, we are with you. Here's to many more 18 years. You can use Trimbox safely. You can also recommend it.